What is up, boys and girls? Welcome back to Redwood RC. We are back from vacation. Well, I'm back from vacation. You didn't get to come with me, unfortunately. But hey, I got a couple of cool upgrades. As promised, I have two big improvements for the IR60 build that I really think are gonna take it to the next level for the next competition, which is at an unnamed location this time. I have yet to see the details about where it's gonna be, but apparently it's not gonna be the same spot. So, we have unknown terrain to conquer, but I have a couple of upgrades that I think are really gonna help us get there, and without further delay, let's just get in there and take a look, huh? All right, so like I said, back from vacation, and you got to see a little bit of crawling action with this thing out on a different style of terrain. I still think the tires on this truck are one of the limiting factors, especially with these super soft foams in the front. They just don't want to grab. They don't want to grab, and I'm not sure if it's the way the truck is set up or if it's the tire itself, or I'm not really sure. But the other thing I notice, and I think that you can probably see here, is these big chunky 4M axles get hung up a lot on various rocks, especially this rear diff, being that the little bolts face forward. There's plenty of opportunity for these hard edges to get hung up on rocks, and often I will see the truck struggling to try to get over an obstacle and it's hung up on the rear diff here, and that's kind of a pain. So with that in mind, I've got a couple of upgrades planned for this truck that I think are really going to set it apart, take it to the next level, and hopefully put us in contention to place at least in one of the upcoming competitions. We'll see. I think I got to become a better driver first. But this thing is really dirty. You can see it sat in my backpack and got really hot, and it kind of ruined the paint, which I'm not very happy about. Why don't I get this thing sort of stripped down and cleaned up? You can see it's very dirty and needs a little bit of love. We need to get most of this out of the way for what I have planned. So let's get it cleaned up, and we'll be back just like this. All right, so as you can see, we've got everything stripped down here pretty far. I've got both the axles off, got it mostly cleaned up. Gonna leave the servo connected because it's kind of hard to get in there, and I'd rather not pull this out right now. It's just easier that way. I don't really need to take it off anyway. But everything is in really good shape. I'm very happy with this chassis that I designed. I'm very happy with how the body fits on it. I might do a different version of this sometime in the future. If anyone wants one of these, just let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. I will ship one out to you. Price to be determined. Kind of depends on how many people want them. I'm not sure what the demand is going to be like, but hopefully some of you guys out there want this. If you do, hit me up on Instagram, Redwood RC, and we'll see about getting you one. But for now, I'm very, very excited about these next two upgrades. This truck has come a very long way, and there's only a couple of things left that I think that it really could benefit from. And the first is a set of axles. Now these are the Injora, I believe they're a +4 millimeter, and that's on each side. So I think it's 8 millimeters overall, extended over the factory width axle. These are the aluminum housings with the brass. I've got the brass diff cover on the front and the rear to add a little bit of weight. Got the brass knuckles and also the C-hubs on the front, as well as these custom brass links that I made for the laydown style mount. I did have to trim off the top tabs of the factory style servo mount so that I could add the Mias laydown mount on there, but that's fine, no problem. The only issue that I have with these, the front axle, you can see here, this little bump hangs down very low. There's lots of hard square edges at the front of this, as well as the C-hubs with the ring and pinion style diff. that the TRX4m has, you do have a pretty big bulge here right at the center section. So it does get hung up a lot. You can see a lot of scratches, especially right here on the front of this diff. Now, I do have some Trial diff covers that are a little bit more angular that would probably help, but that's only a little bit of a solution. The other problem is on this rear axle, the truck really likes to get hung up on the pumpkin here as well, especially these little bolts right here that hold the diff cover on. They love to get hung up on all kinds of rocks, and this little thing right here will stop all forward progress. The truck will be clamoring around, trying to get traction. The front wheels will be digging in, pulling it all different directions, and one little rock will just be held up on one of these screws. So that is definitely something I want to change. So to fix that, for this top tier truck, we got some top tier axles. These are the Mias nylon plus 5mm CVD style axles. These are gonna be a massive improvement for a number of different reasons, and it's kind of hard to see them in the bag here, and you're not really gonna understand what I'm talking about if you can't see them. So let's open this up and we'll get in there and take a look at them. All right, so these are the Mias nylon CVD style. These are the plus 5mm isometric axles that they sell. These are very, very cool, and these are one of the few, actually, I think, innovative products that have come out for the TRX4m in a long time, especially in the rear axle. So there's a number of different differences that you can see right off the bat between these two different setups. So let's just start with the easiest. For the rear axle, you can see the length is fairly similar. They are a little bit wider. I mean, obviously that's a plus 5 versus a plus 4 on each side. I was running these big Injora spacers on the ends of these as well. So you can tell with that, it is actually going to be a little bit narrower than the current setup. So I'm very happy about that. The truck is very wide, and I want to bring those wheels in a little bit. So I'm super happy that these do come with these little stock style brass hex adapters. That'll make sucking these wheels in real easy while still maintaining a little bit of weight there at the end of the axle. The main improvement though between the factory style axle and the new one here, you can tell they've rotated the pumpkin. So what you've got here is all the mounting surface, the bolts, everything that sticks out and that can hang up on the rocks on the front of on the front of this axle has all been moved to the back and rotated up out of the way. That way, the only thing that you're gonna have sliding against the rocks is these nice smooth rounded nylon surfaces. So no more getting hung up on this rear pumpkin. Hopefully that is going to be by far, I think, the single biggest improvement for this truck. It can slither its way over a lot of stuff, but it loves to get hung up right here on this rear diff. So by rotating all that mounting hardware up out of the way and rounding off the bottom side of this pumpkin, that's going to be a massive improvement. This is also considerably lighter, so we're going to take some weight out of the back end of the truck. We'll get some measurements when we go to install these, but that is also going to be a benefit as well, moving some of that weight bias a little bit farther forward. The diff cover that also serves as the link mount here in the upper link mount is aluminum, so you get some added strength there. The body of the axle, of course, being nylon, so that you can slide over those rocks a little bit better. I'm really excited about that. Then, of course, we come to the party piece, and that is this front axle. It's got the same style of rotated and smoothed pumpkin that's really going to help with clearance. This is going to help kind of let the truck glide right over those rocks instead of getting hung up. But the big thing, obviously, is these dual cardon CVD style joints here in the knuckle. That's going to be a massive, massive improvement when we're at high angle steering. This truck, as nice as it is, with these Injora style, these are a sort of CVD dog bone style. I'm not even exactly sure what they call this, but at high angle, when you get some torque applied to the drive shaft, and especially when there's a little bit of load on the truck, it gets bound up, you get that sort of surging, kind of lurching feel. With these double cardon joints here in the knuckles of these Mias axles, not gonna get that. You're gonna get a much higher steering angle and also a little bit less weight. So you can, these actually feel fairly similar, which is really good, actually, in my opinion, because that means that all of the weight that is saved out of the body of this axle housing has been moved to these massive, massive brass knuckles. You can see how much they're bigger than they are than the Injora aftermarket style for the 4M here. Much, much larger in diameter. I'm really excited to get some weights on these and see what the difference is, and I'm really excited to get them under the truck and see how they perform. So why don't we go ahead and start installing them? All right, so one thing I really like about these axles is it comes with a new set of links for the front that work with this specific length. I mean, that seems like a given, but whatever. Also get an aluminum laydown servo mount with this. I already have the brass one. I'm gonna continue running the brass one just for the added weight. Doesn't seem to be any difference other than the material that they're made out of, but I like this one, so I'm gonna keep running the brass. Set this to the side. What I'd like to do first though is pull this diff cover off and see if there's any grease in here. That would be nice to know. I like that they've added an extra screw to the diff cover here to add a little bit of extra strength, being that it is also the upper link mount. It's a nice touch, and it's going into an a nylon axle. There is grease. Beautiful. Okay, so these axles, I believe, come with the factory style gearing. So what we're gonna have to do is pull the axle shafts out so that we can pull the differential gear out, or sorry, rather the ring and pinion gears. So let's go ahead and pull the knuckles off. Okay, so there is a bearing in there holding the shaft. That's pretty nice, I like that. I'll go ahead and remove this other side. And this is a metal gear set, which I appreciate. Would be nice if it came with an underdrive, overdrive setup from Mias, but that's okay. Very nice quality. I think these will go in those Injora axles. We'll just swap the gear sets out, and then those axles may end up under the Bronco. I'm not entirely sure. Probably not. Okay, we got the gear set out of the Injora axles. Everything seems to be in pretty good shape. This was a problem I've been running into. These knuckles coming loose on these Injora axles, so that's one thing I'm hoping I don't have to deal with the new Mias axles. They do advertise these Mias axles as being compatible with all aftermarket gear sets. So this is a set of aftermarket Injora overdrive gears, so we're gonna see if that's true. That's one of the things I was very happy to learn about with this kit. Unlike their SCX24 offering, which has its own special worm gear setup, I guess, these axles would be compatible with all aftermarket gears because I do already have the Injora aftermarket gear set. And if I ever want to change it, I have that option. So that's cool. Okay, so the pinion fit in there just fine. We'll go ahead and reseat the little O-ring retainer. Now we can go ahead and replace the bearings onto the ring gear here, and we'll go ahead and drop that into the housing. All right, so those Endura overdrive gears fit in there just perfect. That's awesome. No problems, no issues whatsoever. Let's go ahead and get the diff cover back on. We'll get the links put on, and we'll go ahead and take a look at what it looks like on the truck, just like this. Just like that, we're back, and let's take a look at these axles. So I went ahead and got everything assembled, got the overdrive, underdrive gear setup swapped over from these Endura axles to the Mias axles, and vice versa. But I want to take a couple of measurements before I get these axles onto the truck, because I want to see what the difference in width and also weight is going to be for the truck overall. So first off, let's go ahead and take a weight. Grab the old scale here. The rear, the old Endura axle with these extended hubs, because I want to get sort of an accurate weight of what it's going to actually be like on the truck. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the servo mount off because I'm going to reuse that, so it doesn't matter. But I'm not going to be reusing these hex hubs. I'm going to go with these shorter ones. So we're going to see how much difference we got here. The rear axle, the Endura setup, comes in 51.4 grams. 51.4. And the Mias setup, nylon with the smaller but still brass hubs. It feels a little tight, but we'll get it to work. 32.8. So almost 20 grams less in this rear axle, which is awesome. I'm pretty stoked about that. As much weight as I can take out of the rear end as possible is gonna be good. So that's gonna go on the truck. Next, let's check the front axle setup. So this is the Endura aluminum with the brass hubs, knuckles, diff cover, and also my custom links, as well as the extended hubs. Comes in 94 grams, so that's pretty heavy. I like that, but let's see what the new Mias setup is gonna weigh. Now this feels very similar with the stainless links, the big chunky brass knuckles. I feel like it's gonna be pretty close, but I'm very interested to see how that turns out. 86 grams, so that's awesome. We lost almost 20 grams in the rear, which is excellent, and only about 8 in the front, which is really, really nice. I'm excited about that. Once I get the servo mount on, and we get everything back on the truck, then we can move on to our next accessory. So let's jump forward again, huh? And there it is, axles on, everything in place. I'm super pumped. It fits just like it should, of course. Everything feels awesome. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't perform amazing. I feel like the angle of this rear pinion might be a little bit shallower, which is good. I think in the long term, I'm gonna make some longer upper links and clock this rear diff back further, because if you can see, I still have a lot of smooth surface. I can clock this whole thing back and get a better angle on the drive shaft and better performance as well. With everything in place, man, I'm so excited. This is looking great, coming along really well. I have one more thing that I think is gonna take this truck over the top: the pièce de résistance. The rock bumps. Let's take a look. Alright, so these are the new J-Concepts rock bumps. These are the latest competition tire from what I think is probably the best tire company on the market for the micro scale. Ooh. Woo. Now these, on the rock surface that we have out here, I think are gonna perform absolutely fantastic. They have a little bit stiffer foam, a little bit stiffer sidewall than these little guy tires. And I think the tread pattern and the grippiness are gonna be a massive, massive step up. This tire seems like it's gonna grip real well, especially on the slick rock we have around here. These ones, I like them, but they're just so soft. These make really good trail tires, but on the slick rock that we have out here, especially out at Flat Rock Park, they just have not been performing. There's been a couple of guys I've seen run them out there, but other than that, it does not work well on the rocks we have around here. So let's get these wheels off, we'll get them cleaned up, get the rock bumps mounted, we'll get the body back on, we'll take a quick look at it, and then we'll head out to the rocks, see how it performs. I can't wait, let's go! All right, there is the first of the J Concepts rock bumps mounted on the Injora wheels. I'm not gonna vent these. These feel great. These wheels are vented, and that feels amazing. I cannot wait to get these out on the rocks. These are gonna be so good. Why don't we get the rest of them mounted? Woo! Look at that, look at that. Oh man. Oh man. This thing just gets better and better and better every single time. I'm pumped. I'm really pumped. The rear axle, you can see, just barely clears the body. Full articulation. The front axle, very much the same. I'm gonna need to trim, especially the bumper here. I might just cut it off entirely. As well as probably back here a little bit more. I'm not sure. It's gonna rub fairly significantly, but we'll see once I take it out on the rocks and see how it performs. The steering angle on this is way better now, way better. I'm thrilled. It's noticeably lighter and noticeably more front heavy, which is amazing. I'm really excited about that. This truck is gonna crush. I mean, the foams, the stock foams in these J Concepts tires are fantastic. They're just stiff enough where there's almost no sidewall rollover on this truck. I mean, almost none at all. And still, I mean, just a great amount of squish, and the grip on this tread feels like it's gonna work fantastic on the surface that we have out here. I am really pumped. There's a lot more ground clearance under the front axle here. These tires don't sag as much. The diff is tucked up a little more. It's rounded, it's rotated, all of that stuff. I am pumped. This rear end is gonna slide right over anything that would have gone hung up on before. And yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to get this thing back out on the rocks. I'm not sure where the next competition is going to be. I haven't actually heard anything about it yet, and it is actually past when it should have been already. So not even really sure there's gonna be another one, but this truck just keeps getting better and better and better. So let's head out to the rocks and see how it performs, huh?